So with that, let's begin and get straight down to business. Today, incidentally, we'll also be getting you special coverage on Elon Musk, his meteoric rise at Tesla, a company, incidentally, he did not start but joined as an investor because he'd already started SpaceX and was spending 80 hours a week at SpaceX and didn't think he could devote the similar time at Tesla. That and more coming up for you. But back home, what we've been hearing about over the last couple of days is a revival in the housing sector. And it's being talked about by stalwarts like HDFC Bank's Deepak Parekh as well, who says this is not pent-up demand. What we've also seen in 2020, of course, is the acceleration of digitization. How has that impacted the real estate market? Well, according to the startup NoBroker, there has been a positive rub-off effect. And the same millennials that were believing in being asset-light and shared economy being the future are now looking at being asset-heavy and buying houses. This is according to a survey carried out by NoBroker in the big metropolitan cities. Joining me, Saurav Garg, the co-founder at NoBroker.com. Hi, Saurav. Good evening. Welcome to Startup Central. There has, of course, been a lot of positive news that's been coming in for the real estate sector. It could be, the record low interest rates that we saw, a push by all the banks to bring buyers back into the market. That was, of course, during the festive season. Then you've had the Maharashtra government, for example, come out with relaxations for the premium on stamp duties. The burden will be on the builder, not on the buyer. Once again, so that buyers can throng back to the housing market. If I could begin by asking you, your survey, does it show that people are coming back? I know you cannot say a boom or a revival just as yet, but a change in sentiment, is that visible?
Yeah, Nayantara, I think we see a lot of this happening. I mean, our survey clearly showed us that almost 89% tenants believe that this is the best time to buy a property. And 82% of tenants want to explore buying a property in 2021, which is very positive. And like you rightly said, that the majority of buyers who are exploring to buy a property are millennials. These are the 25 to 40 years old people who have always shied away from owning an asset. They wanted to rent a house for the last, 5-6 years, we have been seeing that. But they coming back into the market is a very positive sentiment for the industry. And we really believe that 2021 should be actually a good year for real estate.
I believe that according to this survey that you've carried out, which is of more than 17,000 people in the metropolitan cities, if I look at it, the age group of the millennials, let's start with that first. For 25 to 40, the age group, in 2019, 49%, and like you said, wanted to buy a house. In 2020, that has gone up to 63%. It's the same people that wanted to be asset-light, only live in rented accommodation, that are now looking at buying a property. But what I want to ask you, Saurav, is that are these all just inquiries or are they also being converted to sales? A house is perhaps the most expensive purchase that we make in a lifetime.
Yeah. So we are already seeing a revival. We're already seeing that the last quarter of 2020 was much better. And, also on our platform, we are seeing that the buyers who are coming on the platform have increased substantially. And fundamentally, I think a lot of things have changed in the past. If you look at this time now, like you rightly said, interest rates are at one of the lowest times now. And what we have historically also seen, that whenever the difference between the interest rates and rental yield is less than 4.5%, you see that more buyers come to buy the property. They prefer to buy rather than rent. So I think that's a very big change which we are already seeing, and this should definitely lead to more buyers coming into the market. Second, of course, the prices have been stagnant for the last 4 or 5 years, and real estate had a tough time with a lot of things happening, including demonetization, RERA, GST. I think things are stabilizing now on that front also. And since the prices have been kind of stagnant in some places, they've also declined in the last 4 or 5 years. So there has been a price correction, but the inflation was there, the prices were standstill. And now with the builders coming, giving discounts, governments also pitching in, like you said, Maharashtra government talking about stamp duty. They also said yesterday that they want to reduce premium which the government charges. So I think these are very positive steps for the industry, and we are seeing transactions happening. Of course, it's not that there is a boom which has already come, but with so many buyers in the market showing interest, we really think that this should translate into sales. Because typically buying cycle is slightly longer. People take 2 to 3 months to decide on the right property, and since many of these actions have happened now, you should see in 2021 a lot of this translating into sales.
Okay, I take that point. Now, what I also want to understand from you is that in this era of work from home, now whether work from home will stay as a normal or a hybrid version will come out, the pressure of wanting to be near your office, which if it was in the central business district, you would have to pay a premium, is no longer the case. So when you had started seeing the boom of suburbs, people had to factor in, long drives to offices now, which will not be the main concern now. So what kind of pockets are you seeing the demand for? One, of course, will be the price, but if I were to talk about the location, does it necessarily have to be in the big cities? Are you seeing perhaps more demand for, let's say, working out of prettier places? It could be the mountains or the beaches.
You're right. I think so. What we have seen 2 or 3 trends here. One, within big cities, we are seeing people are saying we don't need to live near commercial centers. We can live in suburbs. The prices are low there. We can still, spend the same amount of money or lower amount of money and get bigger houses. So I think that's also a second trend which we are seeing, that there is more demand for bigger houses. And of course, suburbs are seeing a lot more demand than the central places. And third thing which we are seeing is that there is a demand which is coming for what you call traditionally as vacation homes. So people are saying that since we are going to work from home for a long time, maybe it's a medium term or a long term kind of a thing, but this is going to be a reality in the future. So people are also investing in some of these places and trying to work from these kind of places, whether it is Goa or the mountains or the beaches. I mean, many of these places are seeing these demand.
And what price point? Obviously, the cheaper the better, the bigger the better, the house. I get all of that. But what kind of a price point? And suddenly, also a time when your typical location is not, worth the premium or able to get the premium. My point is that pre-corona, it was all location, right? So, how has that changed?
I think changed substantially. So, what we've seen is that suburbs are a lot more in demand, and bigger houses, 2-3 BHK plus, almost, that has jumped seen a massive jump. Starting from people who were saying, till last year, 58% people were saying that we want large houses. Now, almost 77% people are saying that we want bigger houses. And I think the reason is that work from home, both husband and wives are working from home, and they need place to work. In some cases, even kids are studying from home. And suburbs are where the demand is coming again, because they don't want to travel. The price point which we are seeing is that 80 lakh plus, especially in the metro cities, we are seeing that 80 lakh plus has seen a massive jump. It has jumped almost in a double demand from what it was seen till last year. So that is the price point where we've seen a huge jump happening and across cities.
Now, we keep getting participants from the digital payment side here on Startup Central. There's enough data to hear about how consumer behavior has changed. For example, for me as well, my landlady, she's 86 years old. She always wanted a check, but because of COVID-19, she had no choice but to start accepting NEFT and RTGS. And we keep hearing about this. Now, in your survey, have you found that maybe online payments for houses, whether it's for rent or purchases, have you been able to map that data?
I think, we have seen a massive jump in that. Till last year, more than 50% people were paying either checks and cash for rent payment. This has gone down substantially now. Almost 62% people are saying that they pay electronically, whether it is through NEFT, whether it's through bank payment. NoBroker also has a platform through which people can pay rent through credit card. So we have seen a massive jump in that also. So clearly, I think this is a massive jump which you have seen towards online payments from which was traditionally a very PDC-driven or cash payment or check-driven kind of a thing. I mean, I remember that till a few years back, landlords used to demand PDCs for post-dated checks for next 11 months. I think so. This pandemic has changed that substantially now. Landlords also want to get money electronically. They don't want to get into paper money or get into looking at physical checks. So we have seen that massive jump happening now. Almost 62% people are saying that we want to get money electronically, and that's a reality now.
Okay. So with that, Saurav, I'd like to thank you for joining us here. Early days yet, a recovery in the housing sector, real estate sector is fantastic news for the economy, has a multiplier impact. But I think the biggest insight from this survey, which is being carried out across the big metros, covering about 18,000 people in all, is that the very same people, the biggest advocates for shared mobility, have no choice but to now look at shared mobility, shared assets, the shared economy. They have no choice but to start becoming asset heavy. They're buying cars and they're having to buy houses. Thanks, Saurav, and wish you a very happy new year, and to the entire team at NoBroker.com as well. We're going to take a short commercial break. We have an action-packed show lined up for you. We're going to get to the big voice from TVS Capital, what NASSCOM has to say about startups, and of course the big move that all of us are waiting for. Will Elon Musk dethrone Jeff Bezos today? We're going to get you an expert voice all the way from New York City. Stay tuned.